Hello, first graders. Welcome back to writing. Today I wanted to share with you my map of an ideal classroom and the letter that I wrote to Mrs. Bliss to prove why I should get it. And you will be doing something very similar when you go ahead and draw a map of your ideal second grade classroom and write her a letter about why you should get some of the things inside of it that you have. So as you see, this is in fact pretty similar to our current first grade classroom. There are tables for kids, a hexagon table, some paper choices, the front door, the back door, the board, pretty much everything we have. But there are a couple of new things on my map. I wanted a new library and I wanted a new computer center. And so because these are the two most important things to me right now, I've decided that that's what I'm going to focus on in my letter. Is I'm going to write to Mrs. Bliss about why she should give me a new library for my classroom and a new computer center. So take a look and see what I wrote. And let's just notice some of the things that I did. Now this is a long letter. And I'm going to tell you, this letter maybe when you go to write it, it might be one of your longer letters too. It doesn't have to be 2 pages. I do not expect that. But this letter might be a little longer than some of the others, just because I know how passionate you are about convincing people of what you want, and I know that you are really good at it too. So let's just take a look. May 10th, 2020. Dear Mrs. Bliss, I want you to build a new classroom for me. Some things my students absolutely must have include a new classroom library and a new computer center. I need a new library because there are so many books I'd like my first graders to read that we don't have. For example, the kids would love the Fox books by James Marshall, Poppleton by Cynthia Rylant, and Frog and Toad by Arnold Lobel. Another thing we need is a new computer. The first graders will need to learn to use it for research on Britannica's school and their work on IXL. Remember, if you decide to build this classroom, it won't just be for me. It will be for future Kodiaks everywhere. Thank you, Miss Goldberg. And I chose to sign thank you. That is another way to close your letter that you are allowed to do when it is more formal, like it would be to the director of the children's school, for example. So let's just take a look now and see what I did. Did I introduce what this letter is going to be about? Did I tell Mrs. Bliss that I'm about to convince her to do something for me? I did, didn't I? I want you to build a new classroom for me. Right there, that's my introduction. I have to tell her what I want her to do. Then I have to tell her all of the things that I want her to make, much more specifically, but just the ones that are going to actually be in the letter. You're not going to be able to write about everything on your map because I bet your maps are so descriptive, but you're going to pick at least 2. And so here is a place where you could write all of the things that you want that will be in your letter. Some things my students absolutely must have. It must include a new classroom library and a computer center. Wasn't everything that I proved or tried to prove to Mrs. Bliss about getting a new classroom library or a computer center? It was. Your letter should be like that too. The next step is to pick one of those things that you want that you mentioned, and to say why. So the first one I chose was the library because that was the first one I wrote about anyway. I need a new library because, oh, you guessed it, there are so many books I'd like my first graders to read that we don't have. For example, the kids would love the Fox books by James Marshall, Poppleton by Cynthia Rylant, and Frog and Toad by Arnold Lobel. Another thing The second thing I want we need is a new computer. The new first graders will need to learn to use it for research on Britannica School and their work on IXL. Are those reasons? Is that possible? I did remember to do that. Remember, if you decide to build this classroom, I'm reminding her what I want her to do to build the classroom. It won't just be for me. It will be for future Kodiaks. Thank you, Miss Goldberg. So what you have to do when you write your letter, and I will post this chart up on the board, you have to make sure that not only do you have your heading and your Dear Mrs. Bliss, but you have an introduction. You tell her all of the things that you want that will be in the letter. Then you say the first thing you want, the reasons you want it. The second thing you want, the reasons you want that, and of course the conclusion. Once you've done that, you will have written a very convincing and persuasive letter that I bet will have Mrs. Bliss thinking, I really want those future second graders to have what they want. All right, so get to work on this. Remember, I am guessing that this letter will be longer than your other letters, but I do not expect this much writing. Okay, just do as much as you can. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.